Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Lambdin grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have no offers accepted if you're not viewing. So be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class if you've not been watching my videos. I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Good evening, everybody. Charlie Lambdin here. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie. I'm halfway through my beer of the evening, and this was a last-minute decision to do this live stream. The innocent victims of the 2023 housing market, who are, straight away, for those of you who don't want to wait, slow sellers, fast first-time buyers, and average agents and brokers. I want to just elaborate on this, though, because the thing that made me want to do this is that two things happened to me in the last 24 hours. Had an invitation from a national newspaper to contribute to an article coming out sometime next week about where the 2023 housing market is headed and what I see happening to the market in the next couple of years. And the tone of the invitation was still one of what I would call somewhere between denial and delusion about the current state of the market. But it's not necessarily a denial delusion if it's just that people don't know what's happening today. Last night, and I put a link to this in the description below on YouTube, someone sent me a link to a thread on Reddit, which I will just share with you briefly. And the headline of it is, "How screwed is everyone next year?" Let me just get it up on the screen for you. I'm going to read it out. I have less than 12 months left on my cushy 1.5% mortgage. At current interest rates, my payments are going to go up by £600 to £700 a month. My house value has lost 10% this year. Childcare has gone up. Food, water, do I need to mention gas and electric? Whilst optimistic, I know I'm screwed. 12 months ago, I could save £600 a month. With the cost of living now, I save nothing. I need to find another £600 a month. Maybe I'll have a long-lost aunt leave me some dough. What is everyone else's outlook? Are we headed for a property crash? And there are 2,000 comments. And if you go through those comments, I mean, everyone can have a look at that, right? Take a look at it for yourself. And see what you think. And the specific purpose of this video is to try to bridge the gap between what I can see happening in the housing market on the front line today and what everyone else's perception of what's happening on the front line today is. There's a big, big, big gap. And for reasons I won't bore you with in this video, I have arguably better visibility of what's happening on the front line than almost anybody. I won't bore you with it. And this is why I was able last August to go, guys, UK house prices are going to collapse. And what I'm saying is that on the front line today, we're in the middle of July 2023, prices, with exceptions, always, please, I can hear some of you going, not where I am. I mean, there might be some properties there are some very small pockets where there are still very strong sales. But also there's a lot of people who think not where I am because they're not paying attention. And the purpose of the video is to try to help increase the number of people who go, oh, and wake up just in time to stop or to avoid making a mistake. Now, the title of the video is "The Innocent Victims of 2023," and I choose that wisely, okay? Because let me, in no particular order, let's go through them. So, slow sellers are, and I've heard some of these people. I met them in person, and they go, "Oh, do you think the market's turning? Do you? Oh, right, yeah. Well, haven't really thought about it, but we're looking ahead. We're not quite sure. We might have to sell. We might not." And I want to sort of go, wakey. If you think you might have to sell, do your sums really quickly. Make a decision fast, because if you need to sell and you don't do it quickly, you are going to be on the slide of people chasing the market down. And I try to not be what's the word, sensationalist with them. And I say, well, I think if selling it might be a necessity for you, I wouldn't delay. Do you think so? Yeah. Oh, well, I'll have a chat with the other half when I get home, and we'll talk. Oh, no, today. And there are going to be so many slow sellers who are like the guys in that Reddit thread going, well, we're okay right now on 1.5%, but next February, what's going to happen? And some of those people will wish come next February that they'd sold now. And it's not, they will be innocent victims when they're too late to sell and they've missed the market. And then suddenly some people will find themselves in negative equity. Now, I'm not here trying to scaremonger anybody. There are people who are going to be fine. There are lots of people who are going to be fine, right? There are lots of buyers buying now who are going to be fine. There are lots of sellers selling now who don't sell. They're going to be fine. There are lots of agents who are going to be fine. There are lots of mortgage brokers who are going to be fine. Good for you. You don't need to watch this video. Don't watch this video. It'll just wind you up. But there are innocent victims of the lack of transparency of what's happening in the housing market, who are, they're not rabbits in the headlights, because they're not like going, oh God, I'm fucked and I'm just going to stand here and get run over. They've got their back and they're wandering along and they're going to get run over by this market. And before they know it, it's going to be too late. So the slow sellers is one of them. People who actually realize they've got to sell, but they realize too late. And I really feel like we're at that tipping point. In fact, John Stepek on Bloomberg put an article out today saying we're at the tipping point in the housing market. And I agree. I can feel it. I can feel it in the same way that I felt the delusion about house prices last autumn that made me go and do that video saying, everybody wake up, house prices are going to fall. What nonsense, Charlie. House prices always go up. I mean, the sheer volume and breadth of utter astonishment and delusion from most people when I said that last autumn just gobsmacked me. Like, really? You are in the industry? And that's right. And I had another person message me who said, and I've got to be very careful because it's a private message and they want to keep it private, but there are even estate agents who haven't ever been through a market like this, who are still, and these are the delusional ones, convinced the house prices cannot fall. They might soften a little bit, whatever, but they cannot fall and it's going to be fine. And I've heard stories of agents who are just rabbits in the headlights. No, it's fine. Supply and demand, it's fine. It's going to sell. I know how it works. And so agents who need to sell their own houses who are in denial. The fast first-time buyers I'm referring to, I'm getting messages every single day. And I'm so sorry, guys. I'm totally overwhelmed with messages. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of private messages asking me for my thoughts on your opinion that I just do not have time to answer one-to-one, one at a time like that. I just don't. I guarantee to answer people's messages if you join me on buymeacoffee.com/MHWC. There's a 15 quid a month membership where I guarantee to answer your messages. And if you want one-to-one, they're also on buymeacoffee.com/MHWC. You can book half an hour or a 1 hour slot of the one-to-one if you want it. But I'm getting these messages every single day saying, we've just had an offer accepted. We're not sure we should go ahead with it. What do you think? Should we go ahead or not? And of course, I can't tell them because they never give me enough information, right? The amount of information I would need to be able to form an opinion on their situation would be 2 or 3 pages of text about their personal situation, their family situation, their work situation, their relationship situation, their commuting, their finances, their deposit, their future plans, all that kind of stuff, right? because there are people for whom it's okay to buy today. But there are some people who are, what's the word? Uninitiated, shall we say, and just unaware of the consequences of the decision they're making to buy today and how it might derail their life plans 2 to 3 years from now, and how badly. And I know that there are people who were buying at the end of last year who are now going, oh shit. People who thought, oh, the market will come down 5%. That's all it's going to be. And so the buying now, if you rush into it because you've been looking for years and you finally got yourself to this where you can get a property and you just want to get into one, just make sure you can really afford it. Just make sure that it doesn't matter if you can't sell it for 10 years. Just make sure it's where you want to live for the next 10 years, and just make sure that it would be a bigger mistake not to buy and wish you had than buying and wishing you hadn't. Now, I can't make that decision for anyone, but that's the question you've got to make yourself. And there are still first-time buyers rushing in who are looking around everyone going, well, the worst price falls we can see is 10%. And apparently, according to official figures, prices are only down 4%. So yeah, and we've already seen some of the falls. We're not buying at the very top. Yeah, we're probably okay. And it's not going to be okay for people who are stretching themselves slightly. I'm not going to go into the economy on this video, and I'm not going to go for very long. And guys, I'm not taking any questions on this either. I just want to get this message out, so that I've put it out there, and you can share this with people that you think might be affected. Now, when it comes to slow sellers, people who decide they are going to sell and either take too long to bring it to the market, or when they do take too long to lower their price, or don't lower it and they're too slow to lower their price, they lower it too slowly and they don't sell, and they don't sell, and they don't sell. I'm going to just quickly whip you through today's best agent data that came out literally fresh today. So this is bestagent.news. If you go to bestagent.news, you can see it. It's separate for Wales and England. But let me just talk you through this a little bit. I'm going to start by saying that I cannot vouch for the accuracy of this, but it is in my own interests that it's as accurate as possible. So it's as accurate as we are able to make it, but I cannot verify its accuracy. Okay. So these changes in the last couple of weeks, and it's on the screen there, yeah. And it would appear that there are large numbers of additional homes coming onto the market. It would appear that the average asking price has fallen by nearly 1% in the last 2 weeks. No one else, by the way, neither Rightmove nor Zoopla offer these asking price numbers, right? Rightmove's is only brand new asking prices and excludes reductions. That average asking price you can see up there it includes reductions. Okay, that's falling. And the ratio of unsold homes, 700,000, to sold is over 5 to 1. This data could be all kinds of wrong. I don't know. We still can't verify it, but this is the best we know how to do. Okay. And unless you have an extremely unusual property that appeals to well-funded cash buyers, in which case you're fine. You don't need to watch this video. Honestly, you don't need to watch this video. Then sellers are going to be, and not through any fault of their own, because again, they're going to be talking to agents, and agents are going to go, they're going to want to win your business, because a lot of agents are terrified right now because of the reduction in transaction volumes, which is a reduction in fees for agents. So some of them are just going to try and list everything out of panic to get as many listings as they can. And I'm not even saying that they're deliberately overvaluing. They are optimistically valuing, believing that there's a chance that they can get the price they're telling you. But even they aren't experienced enough to know that there's no chance of getting that price for you in this market. And the third group, average agents and brokers. And what I mean by this, I'm saying not bad people, not bad agents. They don't set the world on fire. They're not the absolute best. They are outstanding, but they are good, decent, honest people who've been making a living, helping people move house and helping people get mortgages for a while, but are not going to have the resilience to withstand what's happening in this market. And there are a lot of frightened people working in the industry helping me. It's just horrible to see. So it's like I've got my finger on the pulse. I can feel it. We've got, I've got in the databases, I've got the buyers and the sellers, and I talk to the agents and I can see it. A lot of the agents I talk to tend to be the better than average ones, and they're actually kind of okay. The really good agents are going to be fine. They're not going to be victims of this. They might have to tighten their belts a bit, but they're going to be fine, right? But there are lots of perfectly reasonably good agents who won't survive this. And it's through no fault of theirs, right? They've done everything right. They've been perfectly honest. They've worked hard. They've got their clients' properties sold. They just aren't equipped for this market. And some of their suppliers as well. So the second half of 2023 is going to make the first half of 2023 look like a picnic as far as the housing market is concerned. It's going to make the second half of 2022, which was pretty rough for agents. We now know that from the data, but all at the time they're all going, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's buoyant. You will see when the land registry data comes out for prices being agreed at the front line today in July 2023, right? Average transaction time. This is the one bit of good news, right? Average transaction times have come down by about a month, from 5 months to 4 months, from offer agreed to exchange. That is good news. That is genuinely good news for everyone that's the case. Okay, so 4 months, if they're agreed in July, August, September, October, November, they're not going to be exchanged until November, completed in December. The land registry won't report on December's completions until February next year. So we won't know whether I'm being a drama queen and overstating it and scaremongering, or whether I've actually got a point and I'm being right. We won't know that for sure until February next year, when the land registry releases its first teeny tiny sample of completions that happened in, deals that were agreed in July, completed in November, December, and reported in February. But what I'm telling you is that what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, who I'm talking to, the data I've got, etc. I mean, there's one really, really experienced professional agent I know, and he's doing fine. But he actually put a post up on LinkedIn a week or so ago, just saying, he said, I'm tempted to just close up shop for the summer. He said, this market's just over. It's dead. He said, unless you've got a really good lettings business, and he is in a mainstream market that's like, around about the typical average house price value of about £300,000 plus or minus 100,000, somewhere in the north of England. And he's just going, these are good agents that are saying that the market, I mean, the transaction volumes are already down 30+% in the first half of the year. They're going to get worse. And with no transactions happening, or with much lower transaction volumes happening, that's going to wipe out a lot of good agents. It will hopefully wipe out the bad ones completely, right? It's nobody loses if the bad agents go out of business. But I feel for sellers who, like the guys in that Reddit channel, are going to get to March next year and go, oh, why didn't we move faster? Now we're in negative equity. Now we can't sell. Why didn't we lower our price quicker? I feel for the first-time buyers who just went ahead a bit too quickly. Yeah, I would say, generally speaking, if you have sent me a private message saying that you've had an offer accepted and it's made you nervous, you need to be very confident to buy a property with a large loan-to-value mortgage in this market. If you're a cash buyer, fine, good luck to you. But you're not at risk of negative equity if you're a cash buyer. But if you are a large loan-to-value buyer, you are at risk of negative equity in this market. And if in doubt, if you are worried about that, you've got to be very, very clear with yourself that you're willing to accept the risk if you want to proceed, right? You've got to say to yourself, all right, we've got a 95% mortgage. Prices are probably going to fall. Worst case scenario, they might fall another 10, 15, 20%. Charlie says 35% total. Are we okay if that happens? Will we be okay? And are we prepared to accept the risk if we're not okay? And if the answer is yes, go ahead. Right, guys, that's it, really. I'm sorry it wasn't much of a fun one tonight. I just want to get it out there that there is this time lag, and it's a killer time lag between what's happening on the front line of agency and what's being reported in the media. Because there's no data for what's happening on the front line of agency. And that time lag is what's going to wipe out these innocent victims I'm talking about. And I don't know how to fix that problem. I'm trying to with the best agent data. That's one of the reasons for doing the best agent data, is to try and give people as close as possible a snapshot of what's happening in the market, which you look at by what's the movement in the average price of unsold versus sold, what's the movement in the median price, what's the ratio of unsold to sold properties, how's that changing? And I'm hoping that people are going to be able to piece that together, give themselves a bit of a feel for the overall market, and then also go into their local market and look at those metrics in the local market where you want to buy or sell. If you're a seller, don't be slow. If you're a first-time buyer, don't be too fast. If you're an upsizer, chill out. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Just take your time. Be out there looking for stuff, but just take your time. Upsizers are going to be the lifeblood of the market for a while, although there aren't as many of them as there are downsizers. And if you're an agent watching this and hearing me say this for the first time and going, Jesus, Charlie, this is not happy. I'm not happy to hear this. Please follow my Best Agent YouTube channel. Follow my Best Agent Twitter account, Best Agent Boss on Twitter, and come to the Monday midday meetings we have on the YouTube channel every Monday at midday. Best Agent YouTube channel, that is. Immediately followed by a private, live, unrecorded video conference where agents can ask any questions they like. All right. Sorry, brokers, not here for you guys. Can't help you. But if you're agents, I can help you. If you're movers, I can help you, hopefully. But on that unhappy note, God, there's lots of you there. It's funny. Here's me just talking to my camera. I've got no idea how many people are there. Just 2 or 3 minutes of any questions. Thank you, Paddy. I tell you what, Paddy says, keep the chin up, Charlie. Don't get too down. The reason that I do feel really sad about this is because the last 20 years, my career, estate agents have been my clients. And they, by and large, have been much better than average estate agents. Not some of them. I've met some proper crooks. Proper crooks. By the way, that's why regulation won't work, right? I've had estate agency clients who have been members of all the associations and have got all the official numbers and have been operating their lettings management funds criminally. How do I know? Because they were using our software to do their accounts. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of agents, I promise you. And so it's those agents who don't deserve the hardship of this market that I feel the most for. I feel sad for those guys. I feel sad for anyone who loses their job through no fault of their own. That's happening. It's been happening a lot, not being reported, but it's been happening a lot. And I feel very sad for sellers who, if they'd moved faster, would have saved themselves from getting into negative equity, but moved too slowly and therefore found themselves there just because they couldn't see it coming. Rich A. How much of the 20 to 35% fall has happened so far? Okay. First, there are 2 variations to my recap. Peak to trough, I have said I'm expecting 35% nominal price falls, right? So X, not including inflation. Nominal price falls, peak to trough, 35%, with regional variations on both amount and time. So the best I'm expecting to see at the end of this downturn is 15% price falls. The least, so that's the smallest falls. And the largest falls I'm expecting to see will be around about 50%. And in terms of when that happens, it's going to be plus or minus 6 months, again, regionally. The south tends to happen faster than the north. We are at the front line. We're about a third of the way through. Mark James, oh God, yeah. And this is the other thing that makes it difficult. Mark James Armour saying, our first-time buyer is going to struggle getting the ladder due to many people downsizing. I mean, right now, yes, there are downsizers, and downsizers are creating competition for first-time buyers, which is just like, having done very well all the way up the property market, older people downsizing to smaller properties, whilst in some respect you could say, well, that's good, they're freeing up the larger properties of people, and that's bringing prices down up there. It's like the final slap in the face for buyers who've been unable to get in the market now that they're competing with downsizers. Affordability is not going to improve much until prices have fallen quite a lot, but I think they will. I don't think mortgage interest rates are going to go much higher than they are now. They might even come down a little bit. Do we have any questions? Yeah. Hi, Charlie. GS Kuna says, my wife and I have been looking for a house for the best part of a year. It dawned on us that our purchasing power has decreased by £120,000 over the last 8 weeks. Asking prices unmoved. Yeah. Asking prices are unmoved, but there are more and more sellers who are actually going. This is why, I mean, just to see the average asking prices dropping on the unsold stuff, that's the first time we've seen that. Yeah, that's 1% in 2 weeks. This is why I think that actually at the front line, the big falls are starting where they're going to happen. And also predicting things like interest rates is much harder now than it was this time last year. This time last year, it was very obvious what's going to happen. Annie Anonymous says, hi, Charlie, let us smile with your umbrella. Thank you very much. That's a lovely sentiment. Any other comments on here? Yeah, I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm gonna call it. Thanks for watching. 5 Fact Friday tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish up with this comment from Aaron Hughes. So glad I came across Charlie's channel several months ago. I didn't attempt to get on the market as negative equity would be a huge concern to me. Happy living at home in the meantime. Paddy says, same as you. And today I had someone on Twitter saying that thanks to my channel, they reckon they've avoided 200 grand of negative equity. And Boulder says, Charlie doesn't look his usual chirpy self tonight. Nope, sorry, guys. I'm not chirpy about this. I am sad because I can see a lot of people's lives are going to be adversely affected because of the lack of transparency of what's happening at the front line, because of the time lag in reporting, and because of the people in the industry who are fighting to get moves done as well, who are going to encourage people to keep moving. It's just a horrible situation all around. I mean, yes, this was inevitable pain. It was going to happen at some point. It was just, like gravity, what goes up is going to come down in the end after all of the stimulus that there's been in the last 15 years. But that doesn't make it any less painful. And there are innocent people who are going to be victims of this. And that's why I'm feeling a bit sad about it. But on that miserable note, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. I'm going to drink the rest of my beer. And I'm going to go and hang out with my other half and make the most of what's good in life. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you on the next one. Thank you very much for coming, guys, especially with no notice like that as well. Really appreciate it. You are all awesome, and I really appreciate you very much, especially Jilly. Thank you. You've saved me from making a very expensive mistake too, Charlie. Thank you. You're welcome. You are welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Craig. Emma. That's it. I'm going. I'm definitely going. Good night, guys.